We're live.
Thank you, Connor. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, May 28, 2025. This is an adjudicatory hearing before the Massachusetts Gaming Commission relative to the renewal of a gaming beverage license issued to Win MA LLC doing business as Encore Boston Harbor. My name is Jordan Maynard, and I am the chair of the commission. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Commissioners Eileen O'Brien, Brad Hill, and Paul Broder. Commissioner Skinner is unavailable. The entire commission who are present today will preside over the hearing and decision in this matter. This hearing has been convened pursuant to 205 CMR 101.01 paragraph 2 subsection J and will further be conducted in accordance with Massachusetts General Law Chapter 30A sections 10 and 11 and the informal fair hearing rules outlined in 801 CMR 1.02. This hearing is being conducted via remote collaboration technology and is being recorded. Before we begin, I would like to explain the process that will govern this proceeding. First, a notice of hearing dated April 18, 2025 was issued in advance of today's hearing. The notice identified the issues that the hearing is intended to address. Specifically, the Commission will be considering the matters discussed in the gaming beverage license application. Pursuant to its authority under General Laws, Chapter 23K, Section 26, as well as what is contemplated in 205 CMR 136.04, subsection 1, relative to the gaming beverage license application, its form, and its renewal. To that end, the cited regulations set out the specific considerations for the Commission in deciding this matter. They include the following. 1. Whether the application meets the requirements of 205 CMR 136.00 and General Law Chapter 23K, Sections 26, and contains at least the following information. A, the gaming licensee name and contact information. B, proof of insurance in accordance with 205 CMR 136.07 subsection 1. C, a licensed area application form as specified in 205 CMR 136.04 subsection 2 for each area of the gaming establishment in which the gaming licensee seeks to sell or distribute alcoholic beverages. And D, a description of the parts of the premises of the gaming establishment in which the consumption of alcoholic beverages will not be allowed for purposes of ensuring the integrity of gaming, the public health, welfare, or safety or other reason. 2, whether issuance of the license would in some way compromise the integrity of gaming and or public health, welfare, or safety as articulated in 205 CMR 136.03 subsection 4. It's important to note that last year, the legislature amended Massachusetts General Laws Chapter 23K. These amendments affect the manner in which alcoholic beverages and gaming establishments are regulated in Massachusetts. I will now turn it to Deputy General Counsel Jenna Hentoff to explain some of these changes. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Chair. Hello, Commissioners. Last year, the Governor signed into law Chapter 140 of the Acts of 2024, the State Budget Bill, which amended the Massachusetts General Laws Chapter 23K, as well as Chapter 138, which govern the manner in which alcoholic beverages are regulated in Massachusetts gaming establishments. Under these amendments, which went into effect last July, the Commission retained authority over licensed areas in the establishment, while the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission was granted new licensing and disciplinary authority. Mass General Laws Chapter 23K, Section 26, which authorizes the Commission to grant gaming beverage licenses to gaming establishments, was amended to add the issuance of 2 new license types by the ABCC pursuant to their authority under Mass General Laws Chapter 138, Section 79, a special gaming establishment contract vendor alcoholic beverage license, and a special gaming establishment self-owned vendor alcoholic beverage license. As defined in Chapter 138, these 2 new licenses or vendor types include vendors that contract with or are owned or operated by a gaming establishment, but does not include those that, quote, serve alcohol in a gaming area to patrons who are actively participating in gambling. Therefore, these 2 new licenses give the ABCC authority over areas other than the gaming floor, while the Commission retains authority with respect to all licensed areas in the establishment, including the gaming floor, under the gaming beverage license issued pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 23K, Section 26, and 205 CMR 136. Chapter 140 of the Acts of 2024 also amended the disciplinary process and the ability to issue civil administrative penalties for violations of applicable statutes and regulations. Under Mass General Laws, Chapter 23K, Section 35, the IEB retains the ability to issue civil administrative penalties. The ABCC has also now been granted authority to issue civil administrative penalties for violations of 3 statutes to those entities holding these newly created licenses issued by the ABCC. They include violations of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34, which pertains to the sale or delivery of alcoholic beverages to someone under the age of 21, Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34C, which pertains to the possession of alcoholic beverages by someone under the age of 21, and Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 69, which pertains to the sale of alcoholic beverages to an intoxicated person. The Commission retains authority over any other statutory or regulatory violations related to the Commission's gaming beverage license, such as violations of laws which govern the sale of more than 2 drinks to a single person, or other laws that relate to the maintenance of drink prices for set periods of time. And with that, I turn it back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. There are 2 parties before us today. I will ask that Ms. O'Brien from the IEB and Ms. Catanzariti from EBH identify yourself and your teams and advise the Commission as to whom you represent as applicable. Let's start with Ms. O'Brien.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Kara O'Brien, and I am the Chief of the Licensing Division here at MGC. With me, I have Kathleen Kramer, who's the Chief Enforcement Counsel and Assistant Director of the IEB, Bert Kane, who is Chief of the Gaming Agents Division, and Louis Lozano, who is the Casino Regulatory Manager for Encore Boston Harbor.
Thank you. And Juliana?
Good morning, Juliana Catanzariti, Vice President and General Counsel for Encore Boston Harbor, and I'm here with Brian Fountain, who is our Vice President of Food and Beverage.
Hi, Brian. All right. At the conclusion of my opening comments, this proceeding will commence with opening remarks. Each party will be offered an opportunity to make a statement, though it's not required. After opening statements, we will move to the presentation of the evidence in the matter. The IEB will be called upon to present its findings and recommendations to the Commission pursuant to 205 CMR 136.03 subsection 3. Any commissioner may ask a question of anyone presenting information at any point during or following the presentation. At the conclusion of the IEB's presentation, the licensee will be afforded an opportunity to ask questions of any individual who presented information on behalf of the IEB relative to any matter addressed in the application, memo, or to which they spoke. At the conclusion of the IEB's presentation, the licensee will be given the same opportunity to make a presentation. They may call any witnesses or present any other evidence they desire. As before, any commissioner may ask any question of any witness or presenter at any time during the presentation or after. And the IEB may ask any clarifying questions of any presenter at the conclusion of the Encore Boston Harbor presentation. Either party may raise any objection it desires at any time, however, the basis must be clearly stated. Finally, at the conclusion of the presentations of all the evidence, the IEB and the licensee will be provided with an opportunity to make closing remarks summing up their view of the evidence. Before we begin, I understand that there are a number of exhibits for consideration at this hearing that have been exchanged by the parties in advance. Those exhibits are as follows. Exhibit 1, the notice of hearing dated April 18th, 2025. Exhibit 2, the memo drafted by IEB and Licensing Division to the Commission discussing Encore Boston Harbor's application for renewal of the gaming beverage license, their findings and recommendations dated May 28th, 2025. And Exhibit 3 will be the gaming beverage license renewal application submitted by the licensee dated April 23rd, 2025. Are there any objections to any of these exhibits being marked and entered into evidence?
No objection.
Thank you. Those exhibits shall be admitted into evidence. For purposes of ensuring a clean record, I ask that the parties, when possible, refer to the aforementioned exhibits by number when referring to the documents. If either party would like to have additional documents entered into evidence during the course of this hearing, please ensure that they are properly introduced and marked for the record. The Commission anticipates that its inquiry at this proceeding will be related to the matters addressed in the gaming beverage license renewal application and contained in the notice of hearing. In the event that a line of questioning conducted by the commission moves into an area that has not been included in the report or notice, but that is material to the final determination of this matter, any party may request a recess in the proceeding to review the issue. The commission will deliberate privately and make a final decision at the conclusion of the evidentiary portion of the hearing. The decision will be issued as promptly as possible. If at any point during the commission's deliberations it determines that further testimonial or documentary evidence is desirable, it reserves the right to ask the appropriate party to provide such evidence prior to a final decision being made. We will now swear all the witnesses in. Counsel, are individuals you participate presenting testimony in this matter present on this call?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If there's anyone who is not present who will later testify, it's up to you to alert the commission that they've not been placed under oath. Please raise your right hand, anyone who will be participating, and repeat after me. Or answer this question. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will provide before the commission at this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. I do.
I do.
Thank you. For the record, all have responded into the affirmative. A proceeding of this nature necessarily requires the consideration of a wide variety of evidence and information that takes several forms. In this case, some of the information and documentation may include commercially sensitive information. The public discussion of such information may place an entity at a competitive disadvantage if such information were to be publicly discussed. For the commission to be able to effectively and diligently execute its legal obligations prior to making a final finding, it must be at liberty to fully inquire relative to any of these sensitive matters without compromising the individuals or entities involved. To do otherwise would be, at a minimum, unfair and potentially unlawful. Accordingly, my colleagues and I may elect to exercise the discretion afforded to us in accordance with 205 CMR 101.01 paragraph 7 to close this proceeding to the public to fully address certain matters related to privacy, proprietary, or sensitive technical information, or for any other good cause shown. Before we begin, it's my understanding that a pre-hearing conference was conducted on May 6, 2025, with representatives of the applicant, IEB, and our legal department, at which procedural and evidentiary issues were discussed. Do either of the parties have any preliminary issues or objections they would like to raise?
No.
We do not.
Thank you. We will now turn to Ms. O'Brien and ask that you make any introductory remarks you would like to make, and then move directly into the presentation by the IEB and licensing.
Thank you, Chair. Encore Boston Harbor's current license is set to expire on June 23rd of this year. Encore submitted a timely renewal application consisting of the materials before you in Exhibit 3. The licensing division requested additional information as part of its review, and Encore responded thoroughly and timely to all requests. The licensing division's review included reviewing the application for compliance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 23K and 205 CMR 136, reviewing the Encore's compliance history in regards to its beverage licensing over the past 3 years, and an on-site inspection. As you know, while there is a singular beverage license that is issued to a gaming licensee, the license makes reference to more specific licensed areas within the gaming establishment. For Encore Boston Harbor, the application review included 24 licensed areas where alcoholic beverages are to be consumed, will be sold, distributed, or stored. These are listed out in Section 2A of Exhibit 2. Within this list, the areas that are run by a jointly responsible person are denoted with a club. All jointly responsible persons and area managers are properly registered with the commission. I will note that these areas are also licensed by the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission as special gaming establishment contract vendor alcoholic beverage licensees. Additionally, in the same list, we have denoted the licensed areas that have been issued a special gaming establishment self-owned vendor alcoholic beverage license by ABCC. Encore has designated Brian Fountain, who serves as Vice President of Food and Beverage, as the primary manager of the gaming beverage license. He is properly licensed with the commission and holds a valid certification from a recognized alcoholic beverage server training program. As the licensee, Encore Boston Harbor has confirmed its understanding that it remains responsible for compliance in all areas, including those operated by a jointly responsible person. Encore has also represented that it maintains authority to remove a jointly responsible person. With respect to service of alcoholic beverages between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., EBH seeks to continue the service in two areas: the casino beverage service bars 1 through 8 and the Black Tier Lounge. This service is for actively gaming guests only. Encore Boston Harbor has also submitted proof of insurance that exceeds the regulatory minimum. Next, I will turn it over to Chief Enforcement Counsel Kathleen Kramer for a presentation of the compliance history over the past 3 years.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kara. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. As Kara noted, I'll be providing a high-level overview of the non-compliance that the IEB has addressed over the last 3 years at EBH. As the Commission well knows at this point, the IEB has a 24/7 presence at the property, both through the gaming agents and the gaming enforcement unit of the State Police. Any instances of non-compliance that have occurred related to alcohol are addressed in accordance with the IEB's policies and procedures. And as the Commission knows, the IEB has different levels to address non-compliance. It starts with a a notice of non-compliance form, otherwise known as an NCF, which are issued by the gaming agents. It can then escalate to a notice of non-compliance from the Chief Enforcement Counsel's office, and then finally a civil administrative penalty. Over the review period, the IEB has issued 10 NCFs to EBH. These incidents address service of alcohol to underage individuals, alcohol service during the 2 to 4 a.m. window, an over-service incident, and an alcohol storage violation. In terms of corrective actions that were set out in the NCFs, they included refreshers of policy and procedure, retraining, and on occasion, an employee receiving discipline by the operator. The IEB has also issued 2 notices of non-compliance during the review period. One of those notices was issued in September of 2023 to Big Night Ventures, which operates the nightclub Memoir, and this was related to an over-service incident. The second was issued in March 2025 to EBH for non-compliance with underage gambling and consumption of alcohol requirements. Specifically, in that particular notice, there were 5 instances that related to alcohol service of underage individuals, 2 of which occurred at leased outlets. And lastly, over the review period, the IEB has issued 3 civil administrative penalties related to alcohol service. 2 of those were issued to Big Night Ventures. Again, the nightclub Memoir. One of those was from July of 2022. The second one was issued in March of 2023. The third civil administrative penalty was issued to Fratelli, which is another leased outlet, and was related to service of alcohol to an underage and failure to comply with TIPS training requirements. And that occurred in February of 2024. As the Chair and Deputy General Counsel Hentoff noted, almost a year ago, General Laws Chapter 23K, Section 26A was amended to create a dual licensing structure for alcoholic beverage oversight at the casinos. The IB has maintained a close working relationship with the ABC and remains in regular contact. I've spoken to Chief Ted Mahoney in preparation for this hearing and confirmed there are no concerns or issues to report from the ABCC end. That concludes my remarks this morning, and as the Commission knows, the IEB teams will continue to maintain open lines of communication with both the ABCC and EBH, and thank the IEB teams as well as the teams from EBH for their time today. And of course, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, CEC Kramer, and thank you, of course, to the ABCC for working with CEC Kramer. Commissioners, any questions for her right now? All right, I think we're good for now.
All right, so for the last portion of our review, the Licensing Division conducted an on-site inspection on May 5th to confirm that the information indicated in the renewal application was accurate. The inspection was conducted by myself, CRM Lozano, former licensing manager Dave McKay, and licensing intake officer Lisa Bruckner. Overall, the inspection confirms the information reported by the licensee, and the licensed area applications appear consistent. Appropriate storage, camera coverage, and signage were also observed. In sum, the Licensing Division deems the application to be complete and in compliance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 23K and 205 CMR 136. Given the outcome of the Licensing Division's review, we recommend the Commission renew the beverage license for another 3 years.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any questions for Ms. O'Brien or CEC Kramer or anyone relative to the presentation? Does the petitioner have any questions for Ms. O'Brien or members of the IEB?
We do not.
Thank you. We will now turn to a presentation by EBH. Ms. Catanzariti, please proceed.
EBH does not have a presentation at this time, but thanks the team for their thorough inspection and assistance with going through this relicensing process.
All right. Do any commissioners have any questions for Juliana? Any of the presenters relative to any aspect of EBH? Or are there any other individuals we would like to hear from? All right, hearing none. Does the IEB have any additional questions for the licensee relative to the presentation or the contents of the application in general?
We do not.
Thank you. Now that we've heard all the evidence in this matter, before we move to closing remarks, I'd like to turn to my fellow commissioners one more time to make sure that there are no further sensitive or confidential issues that we would like to explore that would benefit from closing this proceeding. Commissioners? We will now move to closing remarks. Each of the parties can make closing remarks, though they do not need to do so. Any closing remarks from either party? Ms. Catanzariti first.
No, thank you.
Ms. O'Brien?
I just want to take a moment to thank Chief Enforcement Counsel Kramer, CRM Lozano, Dave McKay, Intake Officer Bruckner, and Encore Boston Harbor for their collaboration throughout this process.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. Unless there are any further matters that anyone would like to address, we will now conclude this portion of the proceeding. Does anyone have anything further? The commission will now deliberate about the matter in private. We are adjourned, and I believe we're going to be moved to a room, says Grace Robinson.
Yes, that is correct, commissioners. You will be moved along with the legal division.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, EBH.
Thank you.